Welcome back, JD Parker students, to another day of virtual learning. Today is Thursday, May 14th, and today is our 33rd day of virtual school. Today, we are going to continue reviewing some standards that we struggled with throughout the year. And the standard we're going over today is perimeter and area. Now, perimeter and area is pretty straightforward. A lot of you did get it, but I wanted to review it just to make sure that you do understand, because in 5th grade, they're going to add volume to this. So I'm sorry this picture is so blurry. Perimeter. Think of perimeter as the outside of any object. Now this is just a quadrilateral. Looks like a rectangle, or supposed to be a rectangle, but any shape has a perimeter. It could be a 10-sided shape. It could have concave and convex angles on it. It doesn't matter, but perimeter is basically the black line on a shape, or think of it as a fence around a yard. Now, area is the grass of the yard, how much yard you have to cover. So if any of you mow grass, you'd have to mow the whole area. A lot of you might start by mowing the perimeter around the outside, and then you might go inwards and mow the area afterwards. But area is the inside amount. If you're thinking about a house, area would be the carpet in a room. Perimeter would be the walls around the outside. So we had some anchor charts in the classroom, and these are not them, but I found these online and they looked a little bit like ours did. Perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of the shape. So here it's the green line or the yellow. And how you get the perimeters, you just add all the sides up. So this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. And again, this is a rectangle, a quadrilateral, but it could be any shape. So you just add the sides, however many there are, and that is your perimeter. Area is the inside. It would be like the array, the squares that are in the middle. So how you get the area is you do not add, but you multiply instead. And you multiply the length, how long it is, times the width by how wide it is. So length times width will give you the area. It's just like an array. They both are the same thing, basically. Here's another array over here, 3 times 5. And you see here's the width, here's the length, or the rows and the columns. Area and arrays are the same thing. It's talking about how many squares are inside. Perimeter is the outside. And here is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A hexagon. You add all 6 sides, being very careful not to forget a corner to corner side. The last one you're going to start, and I am introducing it today. We're not going to be working with it today. Next week, we're going to be jumping into 5th grade concepts, and this also goes into 5th and 6th grade, is volume. Volume would be the area of a 3D object. So something that is 3D, you would have like how much you can fill up inside. So if you look at this rectangular prism over here, you will see it has like a square on the top, square on the bottom, and then 2 rectangular sides, and then a rectangular back, and then a rectangular front. So there's 6 sides total. So the perimeter would be just the outside. The volume would be all the inside. So volume is like area, but it's a 3D object. So think of like a glass that you fill up. How much volume is it? When you buy a gallon of milk, it'll actually tell you how many ounces, the capacity inside of it. So that is volume. We have touched on volume a little bit when we did some measurement in the classroom, but we're mostly going over perimeter, which is the rim on the outside, and then area, which is the array today. Okay, so yesterday you had this paper, and I had already given you a lot of answers, but on your worksheet, I only filled in 1 in each section, even though I did give you 2. So hopefully you wrote down those answers so you didn't have to do them again, because I don't want you having to do all that work, because we go over those in the lesson, so you really don't need to do them again. Just write down the answers I gave you. So I'm skipping over the ones I've already given you, and hopefully you got this right on your paper because it wasn't filled in. And we're going to go to the next one. So we have 28 and then we have 50. And we're not using tiles, but we're finding all the factors for these products. So factor for 28, I know is going to be, well, always prime. Everything has prime, but whether or not it also has composite, which is going to be any other number. So 1 times 28 will give you 28. I know there is a 2 times 20, 2 times something to give me 28, and it's going to be 14. There is also a 4 times 7 is 28. There is not a 5 because it would have ended in a 0 or a 5. And 6 there is no 6. And then we have our 7 already, so we went all the way around. So the answers here would be 1, 2, 4, 7, 14, and 28. Those are all the factors. You could have listed them like this, or you could have listed them like this. 50. So I know there's 1 times 50, so this is definitely going to be composite because it's even. So there's going to be a 2. 2 times 25. 3, there is not a 3 because if I add these digits, it's a 5 and a 3. The secret of the 3 is it has to be a multiple of a 3. 4, well, no 4. 5, yes. 5 times 10 is 50. 6. So that is the end of our factors for 50. And then the second section is 5, a factor of the following number, right? Y for yes or N for no. So in order to be a factor of 5, when you skip count by 5, you will see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. It always ends in a 5 or a 0. So this is definitely a no, and then this is a yes. And then 49, they're telling you there are 2 factor pairs. Well, I know everything has the prime one, which is 1 times 49, but then 7 times 7 is also 49. So the factors are 1, 7, and 49. And I did tell you did not have to do these problems, and I even said 15 was the answer to this one. There was a couple other choices, but we did not have to do that, so we're skipping that. And then we come to the back side, and we're finding multiples. Multiples means skip counting. So let's skip count by 9. So 9, 1 time would be 9, 2 times would be 18, 3, 27, 4, 36, 5, 45. So we've now covered all these. 24 is definitely a no. 18, yeah. 2 9s are 18. 27, yes. 3 9s are 27. And 42 is a no because it goes from 36 to 45. It skips over that. I did number 5 for you on the paper. And number 6, multiples of 3, multiples of 6. So skip counting by 3 is going to be 3, 6, 9, 12. And you can keep going up. And then multiples of 6 is skip counting by 6. And you're going to see a pretty cool pattern here. If you're counting by 3s, that means if you skip every other one, you'll see you're going to count by 6s. So all of these will be your 6s because 3 plus 3 is 6. So every other skip is going to be a 6. So 6 times 1 is 6, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. And those are the only ones I have there. So you can see they all. So what are the common multiples? What do they have in common? Well, they both have a 6. They both have a 12. They both have an 18, 24, and a 30. I don't care how high you went here. You could even go higher if you prefer. But 3, every other 3 is a 6. So those would be the multiples. Those are what they have in common. Prime, composite. Remember, prime numbers only have 1 times itself. Composite numbers have 1 times itself plus something different, and it must be a different one. For instance, you cannot say that 2 is composite because 2 times 1 and 1 times 2, these are the same, they're just flip-flop. So it has to be something different. So 29. All right, so this is definitely prime because there's only 1 times itself will give you 29. 51 is going to be composite, 1 times itself. But if you add 5 plus 1, remember I told you there's a secret of 3s and 9s for that matter. As long as you get a multiple of what that is, it can be divided by it. So if you add those 2 digits together, you get a 6. And 6 is a multiple of 3. So I know 3 would work. Now, I did not know that 3 times 17 is 51 off the top of my head, but I knew 3 would work, so I did it. Long division, and when you do that, you will get the answer 17. And then I told you on the bottom you did not have to do it because we did it in the classroom and we spent a long time on these problems. But I told you to write the only word of the day, which is pattern. And I circled it and I spelled it, and there it is again for you. So today you're going to review chapter 13, which is area and perimeter. Now on your paper, I put up here, remember, perimeter, don't forget, you just add the sides. Now these are all quadrilaterals, so it means there's 4 sides. So you add the 4 sides and you will get the perimeter. Perimeter is like a fence to keep in a puppy dog in your backyard, so you have to fence it in. Perimeter is the black line. Area would be the grass. So this section is perimeter. So perimeter here would equal 16 plus 9. Now if this is 16, I know that this is 16. If this is 9, I know this is 9 because these are right angles. And that means that the opposite sides are congruent. They are the same. So there are more than 2 sides. Don't forget, there are 4 sides to a rectangle. So you would have to add 16 2 times, 9 2 times. When you add 16 2 times, you get 25 plus 25, which equals 50 feet. Here you have a perfect square. I can tell it's a perfect square because you have the same numbers, the same length. And actually, I'm only assuming this is right angles here. So you have 13 and 13, which means your other sides will also be the same. So perimeter would be those sides added up. Down here, so finish the perimeter for these, and I believe I gave you this one on your paper. I worked it out for you. You do not need to have it the way I did it. I was just trying to be very explicit with my writing. You do not have to do it like this. All you have to do is write the answer. Really, just write the answer, which equals 52. On the next section, we're doing area. And area equals length times width. So length is how long something is. Here and here is length. Here and here would be width. So you just need to multiply one to the other and you will get area. So here you would have area equals length times width, which is 12 times 15. And that equals 180 inches squared. Do not worry about inches squared. I did put that because basically if you multiply inch times inch, you get inches squared. This means we talked about this a very little bit when we were doing factors. So inches squared just means I multiplied 2 inches together. You don't need to worry about this. Just write 180. And actually, I think I did this on your paper for you. I'm going to leave number 3 because that is easy for you to do. Also, number 4 would be pretty easy to do. Let's do the area of this one, which is 15 times 20. Well, 15 times 2 is 30. And there's a 0, so add a 0. So that would be 300 yards squared. Make sure you write down those answers so you have them for your worksheet page. Now on the back side, now they're giving you Some concave shapes. Remember we talked about this? It's like they take a piece away. So they took away this little piece here, and now they want the area. So length times width, but you got to get rid of this amount here. There's two different ways you can do this. You can cut this into two quadrilaterals. So here you have 6 by 6. So your array or your area for this section here would be 36 because 6 times 6 is 36. Here you have 8 and you have 10. 8 times 10 is 80. So here you would have 80. Now all you have to do is add these back together and you will get your area. Another way you could have done this was multiply 16 times 8, and you would have found the area of this entire piece here, including this little 6 by 2. After you figure out 16 times 8, you would just then have to subtract out the 16 times 2, which is 12. If you decided to do 16 times 8, you would have got that, and then subtract out that little 6 by 2 shape, you would have got 116. Or you could have just added 80 plus 36, which would then also give you the same answer. And again, please don't worry about all of this. I'm writing this because this is what you have to do in 5th grade. So I just wanted you to see it. This is basically saying they're talking about centimeters, so I write centimeters. And when you multiply something together, you get 2 of them. So that's what I'm doing here. But you don't have to worry about that when you write your answer in. All you have to do is write 116. On this one here, again, you could make this into one rectangle and then subtract out this 12 by 4, which is 48. So you have 8 times 20 minus 12 by 4. Or you could cut it into 3 rectangular pieces and have 8 times 4 plus 8 times 4 plus 12 times 4. So you can figure out the area for that one. And then the next section, find the unknown measure of the rectangles given. So one side is, the width is 15, but what is the length here? They're telling you it's 80. All the way around and back is 80. So if this is 15, we know this is 15. So that's 30. So if you have your 80 and you subtract out your 30, now you're left with 50. So you have this and this will equal 50. I love the word base here. Base is, it means the bottom of the length there. So this is your first word of the day. Your word of the day is base, B-A-S-E. So it's going to be down here at the bottom. When you're doing volume, you're going to be using the words base a lot. So how long is just this side? Well, this plus this is 50. These are the same. 50 cut in half, if you have 2 of them, is 25 and 25. So the base is going to be 25. So does that make sense? You have a perimeter that's 80. So this is 25. This is 25. That's 50. Then you have 60, 70, 80 all together. So the base is 25 feet. And number 2, area. They want to know, the area here is 56. They gave you 7 for the base or the length. They want to know the height. How high is it? So you have 7 area. Area is length times width. So they give you 1. So 7 times whatever this is will give you 56 when you're done. So you should be able to figure out the height on your own. And then the next one says, Jeanette is painting a rectangular wall that is 10 feet long and 8 feet tall. So let's pretend this is Jeanette's wall. 8 feet tall, 10 feet long. So here is the wall that she is painting. There is a window. that is 5 feet wide by 3 feet tall. She has a window. Here's her window. What is the area of the wall that she's going to paint? She is not going to paint over the window. So they're basically asking you, how much is she going to paint minus this little window, which is 5 by 3. 5 by 3, 5 times 3 is 15. So if you were to draw it arrays, you would see 5 by 3 is 15. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to write small and it's just starting to blur. This is 15 units in here, 15. So she's not going to paint that. You have to subtract out the 15. She is going to paint the 8 by 10 here. 8 by 10. 8 by 10 equals 80. But she's not going to paint the window, which is 15. So 80 minus 15 equals 65. She's going to paint 65 square feet here. And our second word of the day is going to be rob. Rob. There you go. R-O-B. Rob. Rob being a name. R-O-B. Rob has a combined flower and vegetable garden that is 9 meters long and 11 meters wide. 9 meters long, 11 meters wide. So this is 9, this is 11. I know I didn't draw it very well. I apologize. The flower garden in the center, and it's a square, 3 meters. And we know a square means it's identical all the way around. So you got 3s all the way around. How many square meters of the garden is used for vegetables? So we're going to take the flowers out, which is 9. So if you draw, you will see there are 9 cubes in there, 3 by 3. The area is 9. So we have to subtract out the 9. Now the rest of it is 9 by 11. 9 by 11 is 99, and then just subtract out the 9, and you will get your total area. All right, friends, what I want you to take away from this lesson is the difference between area and perimeter. Area is also known as an array. And an array is this times this. Now, sometimes it might give you this side instead of that side, or this side instead of that one. As long as it is a rectangle or a square, the opposites will match. When it won't is when you get into crazy shapes like this. But still, this and this, if you add those two together, will equal this side over here. And this side right here will equal this plus this. Because if you were to move it down in your brain, you can even see how this plus this would be the same as one long piece here. But area is the inside. You can always draw an array. Like if this is 3, you can always draw 3 going across. And if this is 4, you can always draw 4. Now this would be 3 by 4. Area for this right here would be 12. Perimeter. Perimeter is the fencing, the outside. And if this was a rectangle, if it was the same rectangle that was up there, and you have 3 here and you have 4 here, you would just have to add this side plus this side plus this side plus this side. Now again, where that gets crazy is when it's not a complete rectangle. Maybe it's something like that. And you might have 5, 2, 3, and 4. This perimeter would be 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. The area, on the other hand, would be very advanced math, and you would have to learn how to do, you would have an equation to solve something like this. And this is high school level. So perimeter is the outside, areas in the inside. And then volume, which you're going to be getting and doing in a beginning 5th grade, is going to be a 3D object, how much it fills up. All right, my friends, I shall talk to you tomorrow. Enjoy your day. And I gave you many, many answers. Actually, let me see here. You have 2, 4 left to do on the front page. On the back page, you have 1, 2 left to do on the back page. because I gave you this one in your work too, even though I'm sure you know what 99 minus 9 is. All right, my friends, so you only have 6 questions to do, but fill in all of them.